All right, this morning it's typical post spawn, a late spring type of deal. A lot of storm fronts coming through, so we had some cloudy weather this morning. I actually started off this morning, shad were spawning, which is kind of strange right now, but there's a lot of shad spawning, which is typically, the deal when that happens. When those fish come off the bed, they congregate on it. So I actually started this morning with that's a sexy dog. This is the senior sexy dog, which is actually the one I prefer because it will hold 3 big treble hooks. I always tie it to braid. So we got into an area and I was throwing it, and I caught one. I had a couple more. I could tell I was getting defensive bites. They weren't fish that were wouldn't feeding on shad. They were basically fish that were garden fry or still hanging around the nest. So I changed to a popper because typically, right after the spawn or while towards the end of the spawn, when late in the spawn, a popper is a great way to catch them when you had the conditions like we had today. That popper, that sound, bloop, 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 sounds like a fry eater, like a little bass or something coming up eating that. That's what I think that's the reason it's so good around that fish and that it's in that mentality. So I started with the KVD popper. This is Strike King, and this is the senior. I think maybe I caught one on it, but I was just getting bite after bite after bite, and the fish were coming up actually closed mouth and pushing it because they're just being defensive. They want whatever that is away from their fry or away from the nest area. I switched and went to the little bait. Now I still had trouble with them eating it, but I found once that I changed to the smaller bait, I got more bites, and I actually caught more fish. Now, I actually had the opportunity at a great big when it came off, and it was funny that they would bite multiple times, like just continue to bite it, because they just didn't want it in the area. I watched him swim 5 foot from that patch of grass out there to that, and then just, I'm gonna have, now you got it. I had fooled with him that much. I watched him come from that grass out there, and he still came. I typically tie both of these baits on an open knot, and I tie it to 25-pound mono. That's pretty much, just because the smaller bait handles better on 20, I'll throw it on 20-pound mono. But most of the time, if I'm not throwing braid on a topwater bait, I always throw 25. There are 2 reasons for that. It has a lot less stretch than, say, 20. It almost completely floats on the surface. I don't have to worry about, a fish getting me around anything. I don't have to, baby the fish around. I really don't see that there's a reason to go to a lighter line throwing a topwater bait. The 25 handles good. It's soft. I can control the fish with it. Another reason that I like it is the knot that I tie on a popper. On a popping bait, I tie an open knot. There are several different ways to tie it. I tie it real simple. I double the line, make an overhand knot with the 2 lines, and run the bait through it. When I get ready to pull it down, I pull the knot over the head of the bait to make it smaller. And I just keep working it down, and then I work it down over the eye. And that's it. And that's how simple it is to tie. Now you have a long tag in because I had to get it around the lure. Like I said, there are other ways to tie that knot. That's the way I tie it. It is not 100% knot. And what I mean by that is the line will break less than 25, but because I'm using 25-pound mono, I'm not concerned with it being a 100-pound knot.